Thank you, Russell. This is Commissioner Dr. Luciana Profazza. Good afternoon. The California Commission on Disability Access, Education, and Outreach Committee meeting is now called to order on Wednesday, April 8th, 2026. Russell, please, can you begin housekeeping?
This Education and Outreach Committee meeting will be on Zoom via teleconference and held at the California Commission on Disability Access, CCDA headquarters, located at 400 R Street, Suite 312, in Sacramento, California, 95811. Virtual attendees are in compliance with the Bagley-Keene Open Meeting Act. Please remember to specify the following. If a state body member attends a meeting via teleconference from a remote location, they must disclose any other individuals 18 years or older present in the room, as well as their relationship with them. The visual appearance of a member of the state body on camera may cease only when the appearance would be technologically impracticable. Public comment on matters not on the agenda is taken at the beginning of the meeting. Public comment on matters on the agenda will be heard as the Commission takes up agenda items for discussion. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes. Speakers who utilize translators to make public comment will be allotted no more than 6 minutes unless they utilize simultaneous translation equipment. CCDA is precluded from discussing matters not on the agenda. However, CCDA members may ask questions for clarification purposes. This meeting is being captioned and recorded. To assist in this effort, please state your first and last name each time you speak, and speak loud and clear. The StreamText live captioning link has been included in the chat for your use, and staff can provide the link when asked. Public participants can use the raise hand function to alert the committee of when they would like to speak, and we will also give an opportunity for public members who have called into the meeting, at which time they can unmute themselves. If you're attending this meeting via teleconference, please press *6 on your keypad to mute or unmute yourself. If you would like to alert CCDA, press *9 to telephonically raise your hand and staff will call on you. To use the raise hand function, please follow these steps. When using Zoom via web browser, first click on the icon labeled Reactions in the toolbar on the bottom center of your screen. After clicking Reactions, a new window will show on your screen. At the bottom right of the screen, there will be a button labeled Raise Hand. When using Zoom via mobile device, click on the 3 sideways dots labeled More. The More option is in the toolbar on the bottom right corner of the screen. After clicking More, a new window will pop up at the bottom of your screen. Press Raise Hand. Please remember to mute yourself if you're not speaking in order to reduce noise. If you are having technical issues throughout the meeting and need assistance, please use the chat function to alert CCDA staff or email ccda@dgs.ca.gov. If you are unable to utilize the chat function to alert CCDA staff, please unmute yourself and request for permission to speak. If there are technical issues that impact the proceeding of the meeting, the body will take the following procedures. 1. Stay calm and reassure. CCDA staff will communicate to all participants that technical issues have occurred and we are working to resolve them. 2. Backup communication. Alternative messaging will be sent to all participants via mass email communication from the CCDA staff or email ccda@dgs.ca.gov. 3. Attempt technical reboot. CCDA staff will attempt to resolve technical issues. 4. Adjourn meeting. If technical issues persist and compromise the meeting's purpose, the meeting will be adjourned and may be rescheduled if necessary.
Thank you, Russell. This is Commissioner Dr. Profazza. We will now move on to agenda item 1, call to order, roll call, and housekeeping. Russell, will you now lead us in taking roll?
Yes, thank you. Chair Commissioner Dr. Profazza.
Here.
Commissioner Ramirez.
Here.
Commissioner Leon Vasquez. Commissioner Asuncion.
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Ben Conway.
Conway, here.
Committee member Kendra Muller.
Kendra Muller, present.
Thank you. Committee member Arnie Lerner. Committee member Michelle Davis.
I'm here.
Right, that's what he did say.
Oh, thank you, excuse me. And committee member Stephen Simon.
Present.
With that, we have established quorum.
If you do it
Thank
at
you.
Kaiser, you would at Kaiser. And then, you know, how they send you.
We have someone online. If they could mute themselves, we'd appreciate it. Thank you. With that, we've established quorum. If there are members of the public in this meeting who wish to identify themselves, you may do so now.
Commissioner Dr. Profazza, there appears to be no public members at this time who would like to identify themselves.
Okay, thank you.
This is CCDA Operations Manager Abigail Ridge. I do want to recognize that we do have our DGS attorney with us, Ugoma.
Welcome. Thank you for coming. We will then move forward to agenda item 2, the approval of the July 23rd, 2025 meeting minutes. I hope everyone has had an opportunity to review the meeting minutes. After committee and public comment, I will then ask for a motion. First, are there any members attending virtually on this agenda item who would wish to comment? Hearing none. Second, are there any comments from the Education and Outreach Committee members attending in person on this agenda item? Hearing none. Third, are there any comments from the public attending virtually on this agenda item?
Commissioner Dr. Profazza, there appears to be no indication at this time.
Fourth, are there any comments from the public attending in person on this agenda item? Is there no public members in the room right now? I see none. So shall we move forward, Russell, with the roll call vote of the Education and Outreach Committee members?
Pardon me, Dr. Profasa, this is
Oh,
Ben Conway. Just as a procedural matter, if it's helpful, I'll move the minutes.
Thank you so much. Yes, I'm getting a clue to ask for the motion. So thank you, Mr. Conway. Do we have a second?
Steve Simon seconding.
Thank you so much. We have a first and a second. Roll call, please.
Chair Commissioner Dr. Profazza,
Aye.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Aye.
Commissioner Leon Vasquez, Commissioner Asuncion,
Hi, this is Commissioner Asuncion. I was not present at this meeting, so I'd like to abstain.
Thank
The
you.
order, it's mine.
Commissioner Ben Conway,
Conway, aye.
Committee Member Kendra Muller.
I was also not at this meeting, so I will abstain.
Thank you. Committee Member Arnie Lerner.
Wasn't at the meeting, so I abstain.
She said,
Thank you.
she said, I never had
Committee
a big
Member
son.
Michelle Davis. Committee Member Stephen Simon.
Oddly enough, I was at the meeting, so I will say aye.
With that, the votes have been counted and the July 23rd, 2025 Education Outreach Committee meeting minutes have been approved.
Thank you. We will now move on to agenda item 3, comments from the public on issues not on the agenda. Are there any comments from the public?
Commissioner Dr. Profazza,
Virtually?
virtually, excuse me. Commissioner Dr. Profazza, there appears to be no indication from any public members at this time.
Thank you, Russell. And we have no public members in the room. So we'll move on to agenda item 4, the CCDA's new Education and Outreach Committee members. And I'll refer to April.
Thank you, Chair Dr. Profazza. This is April, and I'm really excited to announce that the Education and Outreach Committee has 2 new members. But just to give you a little refresher about what the Education and Outreach Committee is all about, the Education and Outreach Committee is a standing committee that was created to discuss and advise on education and outreach topics for the business and disability communities. And the committee works with the chair in coordination with the CCDA chair and executive director to ensure that committee activities align with the commission's mandates and priorities. So I am pleased to welcome Commissioner Asuncion because she is our newest CCDA commissioner, and she is an architect and brings both educational and personal and professional experience with the built environment and disability and intersectionality. She also was recently appointed by Governor Newsom to be on the California Building Standards Commission, and she also sits on the Access Board. I'm also pleased to introduce Disability Rights California attorney Kendra Muller as our DRC representative on the Education and Outreach Committee. And I've had a chance to work with Kendra in quite a few stakeholder groups for which CCDA is an ex officio member related to the building code. And I know that she is very well versed in disability rights law, both federally and at the state level. And she's always bringing a really unique perspective and is very sharp. And I've been really impressed with the way that she's moved conversations forward in a productive way. So I'm really excited to have both of your lenses on the committee. And I will turn it back to Chair Dr. Prafazza for further comments.
This is Chair Prafazza. Thank you, April, for those comments. First, are there any comments from the Education and Outreach Committee members attending virtually on this agenda item?
Yes, this is Commissioner Conway. I just wanted to welcome both Commissioner Asuncion and Member Muller to the committee. We look forward to working together.
Thank you. I would like to also comment and welcome both Kendra Muller and Commissioner Asuncion. I'm very pleased to have both of your knowledge and your wisdom and your experience on our committee to move us forward. And I'm just thrilled to have you here. So thank you so very, very much. Are there other committee members in the room who would like to comment?
Yes, this is Commissioner Ramirez. Bienvenidos. Welcome. I am really glad for all of you to be joining in this space. Please reach out to me so that I can support you in anything that you are doing. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Are there any comments from members of the public attending virtually who would like to comment?
Commissioner Dr. Prafazza, there appears to be no public members who would like to comment at this time.
Thank you. Since there are no further comments, we'll move forward to agenda item number 5, the Education and Outreach Committee's action plan. And again, I will refer to our Executive Director, April Rawlings-Dawson.
Thank you, Chair Dr. Prafazza. This is April, and this is the part of the agenda where myself, the Executive Director, talks about what the staff have been working on related to education and outreach and solicit any feedback from the committee. Given that this is the first committee meeting of the year, we always like to ground us in our purpose and our project docket, which is will be a perfect segue to the next agenda item, which is our strategic planning consultants. I'd like to start by again grounding us in the purpose of the Education and Outreach Committee. I know I read this before, but just for this agenda item that, created to discuss and advise on education and outreach topics for the business and disability communities, and that the chair works in coordination with the CCDA chair and executive director to ensure that committee activities align with the commission's mandates and priorities. And this is really the committee where we look to you all for, who's not at the table, what lenses might we be missing, and also to give, critical feedback about our education and outreach initiatives, because it's very easy, I know for myself to live in my bubble, and it's wonderful to get different perspectives. I'd like to next ground us in some social media metrics provided to us by staff. We have a Facebook and YouTube channel, which I encourage you all to subscribe to. And between January 1st, 2025 to July 31st, 2025, our page gained 39 followers and lost 5 followers. The page started with 179 followers on January 1st, 2025, and had 217 on July 31st, 2025. And then between August 1st, 2025 to the present, there were 42 followers with 9 unfollows, starting from 217 to 261. And then there was a pattern where there was 246 followers on March 16th to 261 on March 19th. So those are kind of some of the patterns. I also want to encourage all of you to attend our Zoom-based webinar on April 14th. We have revived our Pacific ADA Center collaboration for our Lunch and Learn. So we'll be getting that up on the screen in just a moment. We're having some technical difficulties, and then so there's no visual to describe, but I'll verbalize it. So each webinar, there will be 3 webinars this year, and each of them will focus on a community that is trended in our data, as well as data violation data that frequently trends. And so for April 14th's webinar from 12 to 1 on Zoom, we will be focused on the LA area. So the title of the webinar is Observed Accessibility Trends in Los Angeles County from 2019 to 2025. We're going to start by grounding us in the data. So we're going to talk a lot about parking and signage, related issues with parking, path of travel issues such as vertical transitions, which is also a fancy way of talking about slopes and ramps being inaccessible. Also, access to goods and services related to surface heights with counter tables. And so if you represent an industry or know of industry leaders or small business owners in the restaurant, retail, or shopping center arena, we highly encourage you to attend this. You will receive training on how to avoid some of these common violations, and we'll also be grounding us in some human stories. And then the following 2 webinars after that, save the date for July 15th and October 7th. We'll be following a similar pattern by choosing a high trending community as well as the high trending data. So we're really excited about these, and these have been very well attended in the last 2 years that we've held them. I also want to share that on the screen is the save the date that I just verbalized. And just for accessibility purposes, it's the DGS logo, the CCDA logo, and the Pacific ADA Center logo at the bottom. And it's what I just verbalized, plus there's like a picture of a small business boulevard with an awning and an umbrella and a fountain and some multicolored buildings. I also want to share that our web accessibility toolkit has finished its legal review, and we are now working with legal to incorporate those edits. We'll let you know when the toolkit will be available for release. But we have, over the last year, done some modules on website accessibility incorporated into some of our other programming. So I've done at least 3 trainings for businesses and industry groups on website accessibility and the WCAG. So we're on track with being in compliant with that statute. Also, I hope that all of you have had a chance to look at our winter newsletter. It's posted on our website, and it went out a couple of weeks ago, and staff is working on our spring newsletter. So now we're regularly creating our newsletters. And I also wanted to share that we have partnered with the Division of the State Architect. They've provided some funding out of their DAR funds to help us print out toolkits and flyers related to certified access specialists and our toolkits related to parking and our other materials that we pass out at community events. Also, staff has been working diligently on translating all of those documents for all the threshold languages in California, so that when we go to events and also post it on our website, there will be each of the documents in a threshold language. What you see on the screen are some DSA created flyers on the CASP program, and there's a picture of a Latinx gentleman smiling in a hardware store, and he is wearing a tan shirt and he's holding a sign that says access inspected. And then there's a employee smiling in the distance. There's tools on the walls, and it says, "My business is accessible as yours." And then it says, "Hire a CASP and get legal benefits." And then there's also a discussion about myth versus fact. And so those are some of the materials that we've been grounding ourselves in for our education and outreach. Also, we will be revising our Disability Access Education Revolving Fund QRG to update it. And we also are working with the Division of the State Architect, who is helping us do some minor code change revisions to our accessible parking campaign toolkit and some of our other one-pagers, just to make sure that we're up to date. And I wanted to say thank you again to Executive Director Jimmy Soto and the Kern County Center for Independent Living. We had a wonderful presentation, a wonderful Commission to Community kickoff for 2026 in Bakersfield 2 weeks ago. And Executive Director Soto shared all about what a Center for Independent Living is and their mission and core services. And we also had a Commission to Community event the next day that highlighted some customer voices, as well as had a presentation from from the state architect Ida Claire, who's also a CCDA commissioner. And our Commission to Community events this year, we're focusing on communities that we've made connections with in the past. And so we started with Bakersfield. Our next Commission to Community presentation will be in San Francisco at the end of June. We're also having conversations with the County of Monterey for some Commission to Community events in the future, and we'll keep the committee apprised of those. And I just wanted to point out that Education and Outreach Commissioner Leon Vasquez had brought up wanting us to collect best practices of communities that work well with businesses and people with disabilities. And so that's why we started to anchor these conversations in best practices that we could collect. And so in June, we'll be hearing more from Eli Gillardin from San Francisco's Disability Access Office to talk about their Beyond the Front Door campaign as an example. And with that, I will turn the mic back over to you, Commissioner Dr. Prafazza.
Thank you, April, for that excellent overview. And I commend you and your team for the hard work and the preparation in creating these Commission to Community events. And we've been so successful in the past ones, and we have so much to look forward to in the ones that are proposed over the next many months. So thank you, April, and your team. So first, are there any comments from individual committee members attending virtually on this agenda item? Comments, questions, thoughts about April's presentation?
Commissioner Dr. Prafazza, Stephen Simon has their hand raised.
Thank you, Mr. Simon. Please move forward.
Yes, kudos for everything that just got presented. I'm very excited about that CASP one-pager. But with the LA event coming up next week, this department will help get that out more broadly if that's still helpful. Is there a deadline for RSVPing to the April 14th event? And I do know we have PDFs in the packet of both those documents that were shown. Are there social media formatted versions that we can just forward? Those are my questions. And again, we will gladly help get the word out further across the city.
Hi, Stephen. Thank you. No, you can still sign up until the very end. We just let us know as soon as possible if you have, disability access needs, but there will be ASL and captioning. And yes, we can provide you with any of the social media related needs that you have to forward it on. And I can check in with our social media team about that to get in touch with you about that. But thank you that would be very helpful to pass on to your area businesses you have connections with in LA.
Absolutely. Thank you again for that work.
Thank you.
And there's also attachments in the meeting materials is also an availability for you too.
Thank you, Mr. Simon. Are there other commissioners attending virtually who would like to speak on this topic?
Commissioner Dr. Profazza, there appears to be, excuse me, no other indication at this time.
Okay, thank you. Are there commissioners in the room who would like to speak on this topic? Questions, comments? Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes, this is Commissioner Ramirez. Thank you, Executive Director. Very much looking forward to this event. The flyer looks fantastic, and I'm really grateful to our City of LA to help us promote this as well. Going back to I had a question regarding the web accessibility standards, and I know this is a growing kind of field. One of the conversations that we were having in Los Angeles County today was, for example, what about, for example, when we're having when agencies provide services through remote meeting processes like Zoom or Microsoft Teams, are there also, for example, similar types of expectation of accessibility in those settings, just like we would do for businesses or web pages? And this is perhaps something to think about. This was just part of our ongoing conversation that we're having for businesses and services that take place in remote meetings. And so this is just something that folks were asking when I was sharing this event today earlier at our disability stakeholder meeting. And so we know that we are going to have some more people attend. And so we're very, very thankful to you and all your staff for bringing this to LA for us. So thank you again.
Thank you, Commissioner Ramirez. Are there any members of the public who wish to comment on this topic virtually?
Commissioner Dr. Profazza, there appears to be no excuse me. Sorry. We have an indication in the chat.
Great.
Yeah, Bill Zelmer with Sutter Health. Just wanted to compliment DSA. I don't know if anybody from DSA is on the call here, but I worked on the earlier version of those documents, the Dispelling the Myths document and a few of the others, and we struggled with making them concise and not, 27 pages long. And DSA did an outstanding job of making it concise and visually simple and easily read, and just did a great job.
Thank you for your comment, Mr. Zelmer. We appreciate it. There are no other comments and there's no one in the room, so we can move forward to agenda topic number 6. And that topic is strategic goal development. And I'll pass it on to our Executive Director, April Dawson-Rawlings.
Thank you, Chair Commissioner Dr. Profazza. This is April, and I'm very excited about this agenda item. So we've talked about the purpose of the Education and Outreach Committee. We've been grounded in that purpose. We've also, grounded us in the previous agenda item on some of our project docket highlights and our goals for the next year. And with that, I'm really excited about our strategic planning process and to introduce our consultants in a moment. So our strategic plan expired at the end of 2024, and then we worked on some strategic goals for 25-26. And now we're in the process of finalizing our 5-year strategic plan that will guide us for the next 5 years about our mission and our vision and how we live that mission and vision in the community. And a couple of the things that have happened so far is we contracted with CPS HR, and they helped conduct a business as well as disability related community summit a couple of weeks ago. They also created a survey. And if you haven't had a chance to fill out the survey, it is open until April 17th, and that will help inform our work as well in this process. And now that they have gotten a lot of feedback from the full commission, as well as the executive committee, and worked with our stakeholders, and they're gathering the survey results, they would like to meet with each of the subcommittees to further ground us in some of the metrics underneath the strategic pillars that they're going to be talking about. And so without further ado, I'd like to introduce our guests for today. The first is Sarah Randazzo, who has a master's in organization. Excuse me. She is the Organizational Strategy Unit Manager at CPSHR, and she has a master's degree in psychology with a focus on international disaster and global mental health from the University of Denver, and a bachelor's degree in psychology education from Skidmore College. She brings over 20 years of specialized consulting experience in business transformation, organizational strategy, and stakeholder engagement within the public sector. Some of her notable work includes strategic planning and organizational assessments for state, city, and county governments, conducting risk assessments and organizational assessments for the International Criminal Court in Bosnia and Herzegovina. And she has spearheaded cross-functional programs and training initiatives with law enforcement, underserved communities, and elected officials. And I would also like to introduce Christy Clay, who is the Senior Project Consultant with CPSHR Consulting. Ms. Clay is a business strategist and inspired problem solver who facilitates real results. She has a passion in the pursuit of effective and conscious leadership, and the focus of her work for the past 15 years has been helping organizations, teams, and individuals work smarter versus harder as they navigate growth and change. And she is an experienced facilitator over the past 15 years of strategic planning, leadership team development, and organizational effectiveness. And I am going to yield the rest of the time for this agenda item to Christy and to Sarah to facilitate our next discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Abigail or April. This is Sarah Randazzo. Before I proceed, I wanted to just confirm a logistical item. Abigail, I was looking at the email that was sent out with supporting documents and did not see the working draft of the strategic plan. So before sharing screen, I wanted to make sure that it was provided in compliance with Bagley-Keene.
Yeah, it's yes, and we're also going to be able to project it. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I didn't see it, so I got nervous for a second. So let me send a request to screen share. So in terms of this agenda item and our discussion today, you all already started to provide feedback. We want to build on what April had shared in her executive director report, specifically focused on the Outreach and Education Committee. So we have some prompting questions for you around it does never cease to amaze me the amount of work and activities that are going on in such a small team. However, April and Abigail have both said we want the feedback. We want to hear if there's any areas that we're missing, any things that the commission wants us to be thinking about. And so we want to do two things. One, we want to walk through the updates that have been made in the working draft of the strategic plan. And then two, we want to get your feedback specifically as it relates to the Outreach and Education Committee related activities. April, anything you would like to add or reinforce about the context that I just set for this conversation?
No, I think you said it perfectly, and I'm excited to hear what people have to say.
Okay. All right. So let's see here. I am able to screen share. All right. Are you all? So I've screen shared a document. It's a PDF at the top. It has CCDA's logo on it. It's just Strategic Plan 2025 to 2030. Is everyone who's able to see the screen and project it able to see what I'm sharing?
This is Conway.
Yes.
I see it.
Fantastic. Thank you. Okay. So these updates and edits were made, and this document is a working draft. It was created following the full commission meeting we had a couple of weeks ago. for those that were in attendance. We did a slight refresh to the vision and mission, but what was very clear was that the vision and mission are still very relative. We just wanted to tweak it. The commission wanted to tweak it, refine it, make it a little more concise. Excuse me. And so what I'm sharing right now is an update, excuse me, to the mission to promote disability access through education, dialogue, and collaboration with stakeholders, including the disability and business communities and all levels of government. Christy, I'm going to ask you to speak so that I can mute myself.
Okay, I will pick it up from here. So, yes, that was the mission, and the vision, which was also refined, is an accessible California, which equals inclusive and equal opportunities for all. As we move forward to the core values, you will see that that text is in red, which means that is working text. It is not even really fully in draft format yet. April and Abigail and the staff worked together to take a list that was provided at the full commission meeting to narrow it down to what their core values will be. And so that will be updated here in the next couple of days. And then moving on to the 2030 target, right, which this plan is working towards, the North Star. And as we have these committee meetings, it's always good to just anchor in this, this target, this North Star. And so that is that CCDA is the bridge that connects businesses to high quality tools and the guidance needed to navigate accessibility laws, prevent violations, and promote inclusion. So much of the strategic plan, much of the goals and activities will funnel up to this. Again, as you see the success metrics, they are in that red text. They are still in, they are still being worked out and identified. And so the next part is these strategic pillars. The pillars kind of anchor the most important work at CCDA, and the strategic pillars will remain constant over the plan through 2030, but each year the annual goals will be updated under the pillars. So the pillars are outreach, education, and public awareness, compliance, resource innovation, partnerships, ambassadors, and community engagement, operational excellence, and data. Today, our dialogue and discussion will focus on this outreach, education, and public awareness. So I will initially open up for any input or comments, as Sarah said, around the strategic plan and or kind of the work plan, and that is to say what April shared at the before the strategic plan with the lunch and learns, the seminars, all that type of stuff. So I just will right now open it up for input and feedback.
This is Commissioner Prafazza. Can I ask for clarification on the mission and the vision statements? Those are updated following the input that was received at the full commission meeting on March 25th. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Thank you.
We had a, this is Sarah speaking, we had a follow-up. We took all of the notes from the discussion, had a follow-up session with April and Abigail to do some wordsmithing and have since updated.
Very good. Thank you, because I know there was a lot of excellent input at that commission meeting. So thank you for those inclusions in that update.
Yes.
So maybe we can begin with comments from the committee members attending virtually, or I leave it to.
You don't have to do that part yet.
Yeah, that I leave it to Sarah and to Christy. Very good.
This part.
Okay, thank you. turn it over to Christy and Sarah then to move forward with this discussion.
Are there any comments or additional questions that any of the commissioners have as it relates to what's been shared so far? One thing that I will say that was an aha through these conversations following the full commission was this 2030 target. There was a lot of really rich discussion in terms of what are the next 5 years, 4 years look like? What have you all already been doing? And this concept of seeing CCDA as the bridge, that we've built some relationships, but that if we can really focus on establishing CCDA as that bridge and that connector, we even had the idea of this temporary background. It's a template, but including an image of a bridge to really reinforce that that is what we're working towards, to be that connector in the community. So welcome any comments or reactions to that concept as well.
The only thing, this is Christy Clay. The only thing I would add to that is just that there was some dialogue for those of you that were present at that meeting about being the leading resource and this and that. And April and Abigail really felt strongly about, we are working side by side with our peers in this disability space, and that we really want to be this bridge, this connector. And so I thought that that was a really important delineation that came out of our dialogue after the full commission meeting.
Hi, if there's no one else, this is Commissioner Conway. And on that target, I wasn't there for the last full commission meeting, so I apologize that I wasn't there to help provide input. I do love the concept. I was wondering what other folks might think about. At the end, there's that triad, and maybe leading with promote inclusion, navigate accessibilities and prevent violations. I do understand that. I guess I feel that writers go both ways on this. Of the first thing is the most emphasized, and this way it does end on promote inclusion, which I see the value in that. But I wanted to put it out there as one thought I had on just looking at this document, because it does look great so far to me.
Thank you, Commissioner Conway.
And this is April. I just wanted to say too, in addition to reacting to the document, I know something that would be really of value to our executive leadership would be, some conversation about metrics related to, diversity, equity, inclusion, and access. And of the full docket that I shared at the previous agenda item, are there things about those items that, should be included in the strategic plan? And are there angles that this committee thinks that staff should take a look at? And so I just kind of wanted to add that you could also, I'm being selfish and saying what would be helpful to me from this committee too, related to the strategic plan. Ideas for metrics and ideas for lenses we may not have thought of.
Yes, thank you, April. So if there aren't any additional comments on the first part of the strategic plan, we will move to what we consider the goals, the metrics, and the action items. And so what I'm showing right now is a goal around outreach, education, and public awareness. Create initiatives to address misconceptions on disability access, compliance, and foster a culture of proactive responsibility through education, engagement, and data-driven insights. So with that in mind, I'm going to stop sharing and go back to some of the things that April listed in her introductory comment around providing these Lunch and Learn series, these web accessibility toolkits, the newsletters, the CASP program, the metric around increasing followers on Facebook and Instagram. I noted that down because that's a fantastic metric that you all are tracking. So wanted to open it up to the commissioners for additional areas of audiences. I know April also spoke to restaurants and businesses in the service industry. So again, area audiences that you feel like might be missing, metrics that you could say a year, 4 years from now will help measure the success of this being this bridge specifically as it relates to outreach and education.
Sorry about that. This is Commissioner Ramirez. I like this. Just first, I do want it. I have a metric, but I wanted to just clarification. So when I understand we're like a bridging, bridging with the community with what they need or where they need to go, but we're not going to look at ourselves as kind of like leading hub for the particular resources that we do, or is that part of what we're doing? I couldn't understand if we were going in a different approach as far as being like the clearinghouse or being kind of like the connector, which are also good.
Hi, sorry, this is the closed captioner. I got what Commissioner Ramirez says, but his voice is pretty low.
Oh, thank you. I was having an L-tone. Yeah, my voice is pretty low today, and
That's much better. Thank you.
yes, thank you. So I wanted just some clarification to see if I understand the bridging analogy, but I think I had we also want to be kind of like the clearinghouse for this information, or do we just want to be like the connector? And I don't know if those are two different visions.
I will speak to what we've heard, and then I would welcome April to share more. I think the concept of, given the role of CCDA and some of the legislation that's informed, some of the political dynamics that perceptions that people have, that positioning the commission as that bridge, not necessarily leading, not driving, but as that partner that is helping, will send a positive and more collaborative message to as we reach out to different communities, stakeholders, and partners that are also doing this work or are wanting to engage in this work.
Oh, okay. Then definitely, this is Commissioner Ramirez. So with that, I do have a metric structure for that. It's the connector methodology that you propose of connecting information is very similar to an information and resource kind of approach. And so in those particular fields, a good metrics is definitely the number of people or contacts that are seeking information, the referrals that you are distributing to facilitate that connection. And that's one of the metric structures that you could utilize since you're utilizing kind of that bridging or that information referral sort of approach. And it's actually a quantifiable one that is both by location, by need, and resource, and it could definitely help improve and show just how essential we are to folks. And so that's one of the things that I want to highlight for that.
Thank you. And I do want to offer April if there's anything you wanted to add or clarify about what I said in terms of the focus on bridge and the reasoning.
Yeah, I think that you did a great job, Sarah. I think I would just add that when we were thinking about the bridge versus putting ourselves out there as the leader, the discussion was really around the fact that we have partners that are tasked both in statute and also by just their positioning in the community, different groups that are tasked, such as the Pacific ADA Center and the ADA National Network and, the Department of Justice and all these other groups that do a specific role within, the compliance and civil rights arenas, and as well as like the chambers and others for the business arenas. And so we really see ourselves as the bridge who is gathering those groups, and that's what's making us unique, as opposed to trying to be a monolith of we're going to be the only hub. It's like we're trying to connect all the hubs so that nobody feels siloed anymore.
Mm-hmm. Commissioner Miller.
Hello, this is Kendra Muller. I wanted to add, I love the bridging language. I think it balances both business and community needs. And I see that I'd love to see the commission assist in reaching out communities that may have unique perspectives that have not been yet provided in last year's goals of reaching out to communities that the commission has worked with before and strengthening those relationships. So doing that in tandem, I think really falls under the mission and vision. In terms of, I believe it was on the vision, so I'm going back a little bit, but California has really pioneered some civil rights disability law under Government Code 11135 and the regulations that came out in 2024. And that defines full and equal access, which, because that is the law that often is used, perhaps that language could be inputted into either the mission or vision.
The full and equal access in particular. Thank you. One follow-up question I have on your comment around reaching out to communities that have not in the past been connected with. That was something that came up in one of the summits. The idea of reaching out actually to some of the attorneys that are pursuing legal action against the businesses and partnering there. I was curious if you and others had ideas of audiences that the commission could more intentionally target.
Yeah, I can respond at least in my own community or my sphere of influence. I work primarily with disabled LGBTQ clients and then also disabled unhoused individuals. And there is a very broad overlap between these aspects and those individuals that may not be seen in a explicit way, but should be involved in a clinic or could be involved. And I'm happy to always assist the commission in reaching out to the communities that I know. Thank you.
Thank you. Just on this topic, do other commissioners have audiences, target communities that you would like to see the commission reach out to?
This is Christy Clay, and some of the commissioners did do interviews, and I want to assure you we still have all that information. And so we have captured everything that you shared thus far, whether it was one-to-one or in a public meeting. And again, just thought it would be a good, since you guys are the Education and Outreach Committee, to explore attorneys or trade associations, these ways where you can expand your reach. Where it's, not necessarily one-to-one, but other groups. And one of the reasons that Sarah mentions attorneys first is that did come up multiple times and in multiple ways to do some type of education and outreach to attorneys. Again, if you guys have another particular group that you'd like to speak on, feel free to do that, but I just wanted to add that.
This is Commissioner Asuncion. That actually reminded me of the conversation that you and I had, Christy. And I think when you had asked me that question, I brought up kind of the architecture and construction industry as a potential audience for our work. I'm an architect, and what education on accessibility is always it's never the top priority. So to have CCDA be one of the bridges, we use the term bridging a lot in this meeting, but as an active resource for them would be great, especially since we are providing such easily understandable resources for people. I think having architects and contractors and would be a good audience for it.
Well, and it's far upstream, right? In a sense, if we can get it in the design.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This is Commissioner Profazza. I'm still back on the success metrics. And I'm wondering if we clearly have already identified the baseline data upon which we will measure these increases. So when we say 300 new stakeholders, 300 to what number? And just so that we're very clear that we capture that information, so when it's time to measure our success, that we have that baseline information, both on the stakeholders, the active cross-section sector partnerships, and the initiatives that CCDA has already created. The other sections on the community events and the webinars, I think that can more clearly be identified because we have that information already. So having the baseline information. And I love the idea too of looking to contractors, building inspectors, those individuals that are tasked with this work, that we reach out to them and have direct conversations with them. I think that's a great idea, Commissioner Asuncion. Thank you for that.
Wonderful. Yes, and oftentimes I'm so glad you went to the metrics piece and establishing the baseline. That is oftentimes year one is around of a strategic plan is around establishing what that baseline is. What did we do this year? And then is there a percentage we want to increase it by next year? And then is there a goal that we want to achieve by the 5th year? So you're looking at what did we do? And then how do we want to, is it going to be able to stay the same? What are the environmental factors? And so having that baseline in year one. So first is defining what the metrics are, then saying, do we have the baseline? And if not, then let's use year one to establish that baseline.
Good, thank you.
And I want to make sure, I know that this has been recorded and closed captioned, but I do want to make sure you highlighted in particular the cross-sector partnerships as being one area, also the number of people being reached. Were there other, I just wanted to make sure, were there other particular metrics, Dr. Profazza, that you were particularly keen on establishing a baseline around?
Those two, as well as the
Yes.
other metric was to increase the CCDA accessibility initiatives by 40%. And my question would be 40% toward what is the current numbers that we've already, what have our initiatives
Yes.
identified as? So just to be clear on the numbers so that we can feel the success when we reach those numbers.
Yeah.
I wonder too, and it may be, so with high frequency litigators, I would think that one measure would be if there's a decrease in that number, that might be something that we're watching that, but that we actually target that number, that might be something for us to consider as well.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Other comments on metrics and or communities to target?
Yes, this is Commissioner Ramirez again. I think you might we might already be doing this already, but definitely make sure localities, making sure that we're tracking that we're hitting all of our counties throughout the state of California. And even though we have a lot of them, just to make it more manageable, utilize the regional approach that we have to our counties. Each one of them, both size and location, offer and have different particular needs and populations. And so making sure that, I don't know if we have a statutory requirement to do outreach to all of our localities, but that's definitely something that I would suggest as a just baseline metric for our outreach efforts, whether it be to have them all completed by 2030, or to have some sort of strategic approach to do it so that it could be utilized. But then on a different note, I definitely want to, as a potential population group, is all about venues that are going to be hosting or welcoming our 2028 Olympic and Paralympics, so that they're aware that we have, and no, we have LACD in the house here as well, in our commission, but definitely to ensure that all of those localities are aware that we are here, and that the services and supports. I'm pretty sure that they're aware of that the world is coming to them. And so we want to make sure that we can welcome them in as much accessibility as they can do it, and we can support them. And so that's one that I would put forward.
As you were talking about, this is Sarah speaking, as you were talking about the localities, one of the images that came to mind was almost a heat map where you're able to look at the state and see, if anyone has places that they've traveled, or just you're able to see the different counties that you've touched or partnered with in some way across the state.
Commissioner Profazza here. At the present time, we have a one-pager document that is distributed with business licenses, renewals, and new licenses. And the question becomes, are we certain and can we outreach to each of those groups in all of our counties, our 58 counties, to ensure that all of the municipalities are in fact including that one-page document with those business licenses? That might be another measurable metric.
Thank you. These are all wonderful metrics. I will share, this is Sarah speaking, that I've worked with local government and private sector, and the metrics piece is always one of the most challenging elements, and having the baseline and all that. So I think some of these suggestions that you all have made specifically as it relates to measuring success around outreach and education, looking at counties, looking at target audiences, venues, social media, material distribution. These are all fantastic and very quantifiable. Are there, on that note, not all metrics are quantifiable. They're not all numbers. Some metrics look differently and have more qualitative components. And I'm curious to ask this group, when you think about a year from now, 3 years from now, are there things that would be happening or that you would be seeing that would suggest we were successful, that the commission was successful in education and outreach efforts?
This is Commissioner Ramirez, definitely. And I've been sharing this with a wonderful executive director. I've been going through LA County and finding some of our businesses that have our certification. And so we're going in there to promote them. But those are like really good examples of like some really success stories. We definitely have some agencies or businesses that have really, become accessible and have really opened up their services more to the disability community. I'm finding that more and more, even though, whenever I find, one of these businesses that has our certification on it, is usually just one by itself, but that business by itself is so accessible that it attracts all the disability business rather than the other ones around. And so those are really good examples of like success stories, because the community or the business hasn't been so negatively impacted as sometimes we fear they have. But then we see how their business is actually thriving because of accessibility. And so those are some really good examples that I really hope that we can hear, because we hear of some of the other stories. But I really was so glad to see our businesses, that benefited from the work that this commission has done and is showing up both in their clientele and, in their business. That's just one suggestion.
Wonderful.
This is Christy Clay, and Commissioner Ramirez. I just want to acknowledge and appreciate how a couple times now you've brought forth, let's celebrate these success stories, let's celebrate these wins. It's a big body of work that CCDA has to do. And so I do think it's important to highlight and celebrate successes and wins and that type of stuff. So thank you for that.
Almost. Yeah.
This is Commissioner Profazza. I wonder if there's a way of capturing the number of CASP reviews that are completed. Do we currently?
What I can tell you from prior comments by Commissioner Claire is that the notices on the doors, the certificates, they're numbered, so you can track them back to they do that internally. So there is a way to like look at how many were issued.
So maybe the recommendation that I would like to make then is another metric is the more CASP reviews, the better. So if we can possibly tie an increase in CASP reviews to our strategic goals, that might be something to consider.
Wonderful. And I will reinforce, right, this is a 5-year plan. It's through 2030. And so some of these things we're going to measure progress in year 1, and that's going to be a push to focus on year 1. And then that will lead into year 2 and what we're focused on. So the next step in this process will be to define what this year looks like. And then we will help track what do we revisit in future years to come. April, anything else that you are wanting to garner feedback from the commission on at this point?
This is April. I feel like the conversation's picked up and people are giving ideas about what we've already talked about, plus, some things I hadn't even considered. So I feel like I can't think of anything burning right now.
This is Christy. Obviously, you guys will have some closing aspects to your meeting. So I guess at this time, we would just ask for a call for any final input, comments, or feedback.
And if I could, let me go through that process then. Are there any comments from Education and Outreach Committee members attending virtually who have not spoken, who would like to make additional comments or speak? And if not, anyone else in the room, our commission members who would like to make additional comments or speak? Any comments from the public attending virtually on this agenda topic?
Commissioner Dr. Profazza, there appears to be no indication from any public members who would like to comment on this agenda item.
And there's no public member, there are no public members in the room. So with that, thank you so very much, Sarah and Christy, for your wonderful presentation and the work that you're doing on behalf of our commission. We appreciate it very, very much. And I've now attended a handful of meetings with both of you, and I see the progress that we're making moving forward, and I'm really gratified to see that progress. Thank you so, so very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
So with that, we can move on to agenda item number 7, which is future agenda topics. First, are there any comments from our commission members attending virtually on this topic? Future agenda topics for our Education and Outreach Committee.
Commissioner Dr. Profazza, there appears to be no indication from any commissioners that would like to comment on this agenda item virtually.
Okay, thank you. Are there any comments from committee members in the room?
Yeah, this is Commissioner Ramirez. Thank you. And I just wanted to go back to a question that came up during our last commission meeting. And just for further clarification, even within the Education Committee, about the oversight or regulatory powers or previews that we may or may not have. I know that was part of the conversation. One of the things that I didn't think that we had, but apparently to one of the lawyers, we do have some discretion. So definitely looking forward, first and foremost, to make sure that we're not doing something that we're not supposed to. And if we could do something else with it, then definitely we have that opportunities. And so that's where the genesis for this particular question comes for. And so I know that I had mentioned it before. And so I want to just bring it up as a possible educational topic.
And this is April, just to add just to help at our legislative committee meeting, which will be April 29th, we will be discussing CCDA's purview within those lanes. And I think that'll help. That'll be a good venue for you, Commissioner Ramirez, to pose those questions, and that discussion will be taking place. And you'll be able to see why it's in that bucket, in that committee. It'll be clear why we put it there. So I'm hoping that will give you relief to what you're seeking. And then also, if not, we could talk offline and we could find a way to talk about it at this meeting in a different way. Thank you.
Are there any more comments from the public attending virtually on this topic, future agenda items?
Chair Commissioner Dr. Profazza, there appears to be no indication from any public members at this time.
Okay. Then moving forward, we can move on to agenda topic number 9, which is to adjourn this meeting. May I request a motion to do so?
No one wants to leave because they want to.
Conway, so moved.
Commissioner Conway, thank you.
Commissioner Ramirez, second.
Thank you. So it's been moved and seconded. Can I ask Russell for a roll call vote to adjourn our meeting?
Yes, thank you. Chair Commissioner Dr. Profazza,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Yes.
Commissioner Leon Vesquez, Commissioner Asuncion,
Yes.
Commissioner Ben Conway,
Conway, yes.
Committee Member Kendra Muller,
Kendra, yes.
Committee, excuse me, sorry. Thank you. Committee Member Arnie Lerner,
Yes.
Committee Member Michelle Davis, and Committee Member Stephen Simon.
Yay.
With
Thank
that,
you all very, very much.
thank you. The vote's been counted and the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you all. Have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.
Thank you all.
Thank you.